good morning, good afternoon. You weren't meant to hear that. Good afternoon, good evening. My name's John, a regular EV dad, and with me as ever on the Family EV podcast is Joe. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Some version of surviving. Joe had some things on last week, so he wasn't able to join for what was a very quick podcast I recorded downstairs. Another Amazon. Joe, if you want to know what kind of person you are, I was doing my taxes, completing my taxes last week, and I was searching for the purchases of some of the cameras which we've used for various road trips. And it was too far back. When I bought them, was too far back to just see them on the standard screen because it was last year. So I said, show me all orders for last year. Yeah. 153 orders we placed.
So you're the reason the Prime membership got increased.
I'm some Starbucks drinking super white bitch trolley hopping target. I don't have the words, Joe. I'm not a good person. It's a problem. It's a problem. But thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. Our numbers have slowed down a little bit, and one of the reasons why we do this is so we can be famous and good looking. And as you can see, you're not clicking like enough. So you'll find us wherever you download your podcasts, on Google, on Apple, on Spotify. We should be the Joe. Something I forgot to mention in the setup. We talk about what we're going to talk about before we actually hit the record button. I got an invitation this week, Joe.
What's that?
Got an invitation to go on Rogan. So
for the EV stuff, right?
No, but just whatever. Yeah, I was on a call with my team when I got the email, and I'm like, it pertained to the weird mixture, which is security expert and comedian who is friends with his best friend, Tony Hinchcliffe. So yeah, no, anyway, I've had to decline because it would be what you could consider career ending for me to do something like that. So I will promote. He's a Tesla owner and a promoter, so he's a petrol head with a Model S. He's had a Model S for years. But yeah, anyway, I will actually see him and Tony week after next in Austin. So if you're watching this, you'll see me, and you're in Austin. I will be at the Vulcan on Monday the 28th, and then I will be back on the Thursday for a secret show. I might be back on Wednesday night for Rogan's comedy show, but that's TBA.
Was that the original dates that we were supposed to be out there, or this is a separate trip?
No, that was the April thing. So this was my first. I was going to do this, and then I was going to be out there again. Yeah, that was when we were going to do the fully charged thing. Yeah, those are the days. So already tangent and a half under our belt. I thought, Joe, we've both got some personal EV news to share and talk about. I thought what might be fun is we'll let them wait. And while we talk about the things that interested us over the past, well, I say 10 days or so. So we'll do that last. Let's get Tesla out of the way. Elon, how do you fit into trousers with cojones? So big, like a pair of grapefruit. They put up the, am I right in thinking he put up the prices twice in a week?
Yeah, last week was $1,000 for the base Model 3, and then another 2,500. Or no, sorry. Last week was $1,000 for the long range Model 3, and then another 2,500 last night. So now it's 54,500 before destination for a
40. Hold on. Tesla increases. Thank you, electric. I'm borrowing you. The cheapest electric car starts at 47,000.
Yeah, and no tax credit, of course. We can
no tax credit unless you get a local one. So no federal tax credit. And then, yeah, they implemented the first part of the year, charging 1,000 extra for all vehicles equipped with a long-range battery pack. And then the rear wheel, the cheapest one, went up by $2,000 today. Is that today or was that yesterday? That was today.
Yesterday.
That was yesterday on the 14th, Pi Day.
It sure is making me kick myself that I could have bought a car last year for, what is it now? It's over 10,000 in price increases on just even the rear wheel drive. That car would have appreciated.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's its own. Yeah, I don't consider that to be an appreciation. Although, well, you know what I mean. You know what, Joe? Let's put a pin in this in the cost of cost of ownership stroke depreciation. Let's save that for our personal news at the end of the podcast, right? Because we can talk about that. I'd be interested to get your thoughts. And by the way, listener, we would be interested to get your thoughts on it as well. Put something in the comments. Inflation, it's a thing, but yeah, no, it's like he said, Elon said it before. They have a supply problem. They don't have a demand problem. They can't make them fast enough, and this is before. I wasn't. I think I talked about this on the episode I shot on my own. So in the forums, in the Tesla forums, some of the fanboys are complaining. They have been deferring their Model Y purchases. So you can order a Tesla, but then you can defer delivery, but keep the pricing that you had locked in. And they've been deferring and deferring and deferring because they want to get one from Texas.
It's kind of two-part. That people want to, I've seen people want them from Texas, and then the other part is they're banking on that tax credit coming back.
And the 4680 structural battery pack. Well, let's deal with the tax credit. Joe Manchin said, "Shut that up, you bitch." That's what he said. Okay, he doesn't like your choice of banking supervisor. He thinks you're going to take your stimulus money and go hunting, and you all need to work harder. All right, so he's your president, not the one you elected, but he is the legislative bottleneck. It's what Joe wants. And bear in mind, Joe loves you. Joe cares about you and your family situation. Joe thinks that all of these investments should be delayed because of inflation, but he's willing to write a check. Inflation versus problems in Ukraine, well, that's a different situation. This man is a hypocrite. He is a no-thinking, he is intellectually stunted, and God damn it, he's powerful. Welcome to America, ladies and gentlemen. I might be cleverer than him, but I'm not in charge. Wow, I didn't even see me get on that soapbox, Joe. That just happened. Clearly, this has been dwelling some. It is what it is, and then we'll come to the ridiculousness of it in a minute. When we get to the personal bit, I'm going to come back to the tax credit, Joe. I'm going to come back to the tax credit.
So we've covered one news topic and two tangents thus far.
Won't be the last. Won't be the last. What I do in my notes? Let's talk about something else. Starbucks. So talking about government stimulation. Does the government provide stimulation? I'd vote for that. Um, Starbucks and ChargePoint put an announcement. They're going to create a network of DC fast chargers. Let me find the announcement. I want to get this right. Hold on. The pilot will see as many as 60 Volvo branded ChargePoint DC fast chargers at up to 15 locations, 15 Starbucks locations, with installations complete by the end of the year. Oh, and you know what, Joe? I have the map. I have the map. Now, this is not the route I was, so.
We should specify that basically Volvo's just advertising it. Any DC car can use these.
Yeah, and Volvo drivers will either get free or a discount charging.
Right.
Now what's interesting. All right, so we have a policy of not sharing screens when we do podcasts, but Joe, I got to show you this because you know what? You and I know this, some of this route. So let's see how much value there is in this announcement. So the announcement, full credit to Electrek on this one because they have the map. Let me share my screen, Joe. Let me share my screen. Okay. So this is taking 70 and then it's going up. This is taking, did they go north or did they?
Thought they went south, which basically means it's a route that's already covered.
Well, yeah. It doesn't go too clear, but that, is that 70? That's my question.
I've done that route where I came from Montana south through Idaho, down to through Salt Lake City to Green River, and then back up through Colorado. So it's not translating right when you're clicking on it. If you go back to the previous picture, yeah, so that's showing that the route goes down through Salt Lake City, down to Grand Junction, Colorado, and across the state. When you were switching to Google, it was trying to flip the map and have it go through Wyoming.
Well, and so that's my question, because this bit I was going to let me go to plug share. I was always interested in this because I wonder what's going to come up on my screen because I'm planning a trip, Joe. I'm planning a trip. All right, let's get.
For me, I would have seen this as an opportunity for them to populate a route that currently has no DC chargers, like through Wyoming or something.
That would be, although it's going to, but yeah, you're right. You've got, so you're going, hold on, where was that map? So that's going through that's going up through Boise. It's going through, yeah, it's going through Boise. So where's Boise? There's Boise. This route already has coverage with Electrify America, which was kind of my point. Electrify America already covered. Not that we don't want competition, we do. I'm sure there's areas of whether. Wow, West. Oh, look at that, Joe. Look at that. I don't know if you can see this on my screen because of the resolution, but look at that. I just clicked on this randomly. There's a charge point at Starbucks.
Oh.
Well, in this case, it's not a charge point, it's a green lots, but you know, that's just now, and I will say, because a lot of these are new. I remember when I was, you know, planning my first trip last April, and I was looking at this because the Mrs. Regular EV was going up to I can't remember what the hell it was, and Kenwick was the issue. I was going to have to do a deep charge on a 50 kilowatt to strap, and there was only 2 chargers. I mean, this is still a fairly, remote area, but she was going up to Moses Lake. But yeah, they're not adding anything, but shout out to the Cle Elam Coffee Company and their 50 kilowatt charger. We're grateful for your service. It's if they're going for some infrastructure stuff, and let's be honest, my wife drives a Volvo, she drinks a lot of Starbucks. This makes sense. This is what I would call cooperative marketing, and it could use an extra couple of routes, but it is a pity they didn't take a different route, that they didn't, although even this one's covered as well by Electrify America. It does say they're going to be using a mixture of the 62.5s and their 350s, the Expresses. So look at the map, Joe. Look at the map. I wish we could way back this, so just to see the build out over time, because that really is quite amazing.
Unfortunately, there still is just that big blank space across the Dakotas, Montana, and Wyoming. I don't know the logistics of it, but I sure would have thought that EVgo or one of these companies could have, if they could have jumped in and got beaten Electrify America to the spots, they could have owned the route, for lack of a better term,
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I'll tell you what, Joe. Where is it? Where's it coming? So you can see. There's a way of seeing coming soon.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of your filters is.
It's not showing.
But also, like you said, still more competition's better. I mean, some of the Electrify Americas out there are, I'm sure they're at Walmarts. So knowing that there's a charge point unit you could go to at a Starbucks, that's definitely preferred at certain hours of the day.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. No, all infrastructure is good. It's good for the world. These are things that we need to happen. I'm not unhappy with the situation. Let me get back to my notes though. We'll see. It's very interesting. They're going to announce this by the end of the year, so it's not a route I would normally take. But you know what? Things change all the time. ID Buzz news, and so we had the official announcement this week. The ID Buzz will be coming to market in Europe by the end of this year. They're going to be getting the first version they'll get is going to be a shorter wheelbase version with 5 seats, there's no bench in the front. I recommend Johnny. What's Johnny's full name? Johnny Smith. I recommend Johnny Smith's video on the Lake Break show on YouTube. He does a deep dive into the interior, and I gotta say, Joe, I like it a lot.
I think the biggest question now is on the exterior, the yellow gold or the orange. I like the orange.
I love the orange. I like the orange. I'm having the orange with the orange inset interior, white, and then white seats with or off-white, whatever you want to call it, with the orange inset. Yeah. Still got questions about, the wheelbase is going to be longer. We're going to get a bigger battery pack in the US. Hopefully it's going to be a 7-seater. I hope we have an option to just have either a 5-seater or a 7-seater. I don't want to lose space in the back. I want the 5-seater on a long wheelbase, but we're not.
Or hopefully it's removable seats, easily removable.
Yeah, removable seats would be great. Justin, if you're listening, removable seats, mate. Just put 2 seats back there. So make it a 2, 3, 2, and they can come out. Don't make them like my Transit. Just make them nice and easy to pop out. And make them fold so that the cats can't sit on them when they're in the garage. That's
I don't know if you saw the video that Volkswagen USA put out. They mentioned the California edition too. So I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure that is coming to the US, is the way they made it sound, but that's the one that I would have most interest in, since I like doing my vehicle camping. Of course, they would need a camp mode, which would come over a software update.
So they're saying, and I'm trying to remember this is going to have a bigger battery. It's 111 kilowatt hours, which, given the different size and I think that would probably give it the same range. I think that's just basically the power differential for where we are. I do wonder if
they're targeted that 300-mile range at 111 battery. That would be 2.7 miles a kilowatt hour.
Yeah, which seems almost
a big brick.
Seems about right for brick. Exactly, for a brick. My one question. I think they're going to have to. It's going to have to be at least. It's going to have to be full blown 150 kilowatt charging. Like, that's too big of a battery to charge at 126. And we'll get to updates and crap in a minute, because it wouldn't be an episode without. But I'll make sure the soapbox doesn't get cold between uses. But they're going to have to seriously crank up, and I do wonder what the actual capabilities are. What is the throttle point?
Because I know they said up to 175, but they've used those words before. So,
yeah, but no, I love the idea of they've been kind of cautious on what would be in the California. I still think they're just talking about a minibus with they're still thinking about a minivan with a roof rack. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna make a camper. I think they might, because the problem is the chicken tax. The problem is they bring in something without seats and windows, then that's subject to the chicken tax.
And, right, I heard about that. The same thing with like a cargo van, right?
Yeah, and so Westphalia got around this because it got fitted out, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I did reach out to the CEO of Volkswagen Americas, and said I won't mind. I want it soon.
Perhaps they can just figure out something that the seats will fold to some sort of a bed, and that would at least be a good enough for me, a good starting point, and then people would be free to put in whatever van life stuff they want into it. But at least give the seats the full flat setup. That'd be good.
So would you like to hear the news that's not been announced? That's right, people. Breaking news. So I have how do I put this? So I've been making friends with a number of Volkswagen dealers in the middle of the country. At some weird point, I never talked about it on the podcast before, but at some point, people were asking me questions about the ID4 and where to find, and also some dealers in the middle of the country had an excess number of them because they weren't selling there, and I became some kind of weird unpaid matchmaker. So last week, Volkswagen had a get together with all the dealers in Las Vegas, and they have what they call a dealers convention, and a couple of things are going on, allegedly. So first of all, we're not going to get the buzz until late 24, but we are going to get a car in late 23. Yeah. So if you want to have a Google, for something called, and it's going to get a, there's now a little bit more meat on the bones. There was a concept called the ID vision and the ID space vision. Okay.
Yep, I remember those.
In fact, tell you what, I'll share my screen for a second and we'll put it so the viewer at home. So they showed it in Los Angeles. I can't really, it's not really a good picture, but there we go. It's a long roof, what we would call an estate back in Europe. It's going to happen. And it's basically the ID6. If you've seen the ID6 from China, let me see if we got an ID6 from China. VW ID6 images. Thank you, Motor Trend, for the use of your image.
Is that 3 rows?
Yeah. But the most important thing is, if you look at that one and then look at, where did it go? That car and that car. Yeah, one's a little bit sleeker and, you know, bodywork. But basically, they're gonna, it's a lowered version, it's a modified version of the ID6. That's what it's gonna be. It's going to be the Aero, so that you'll see there's another version of this, and this is all the concepts coming together. And I think, you know, this, oh, they teased it today. Oh, this is interesting. Oh my God, talking about last week. So this is just on Inside EVs now. They've teased it, but what I can tell you is, because it was told to them, they said it's Jetta-esque or whatever. It's about the same size as a Passat, but it's going to be a long roof. They've got one testing here in thing, and again, here's the image we just showed before.
Inside EVs is calling it a sedan, but it's going to be more like a wagon, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a 5-door wagon. So that is interesting. I could see myself with that, funnily enough, and I'll come to that in a minute. But that's going to come to us in late 23. So this will happen before the buzz. This will happen in the United States, because that's not going to arrive until late 2024. And apparently the US has a good shot at getting a good selection of colors and features. Apparently that might be restricted. I'm curious to see where we're going to be with batteries and Chattanooga and at this point, but it's certainly interesting. Now, it goes without saying that as the entire Volkswagen leadership was in this room, that I was having a text conversation with 4 other people, I had to ask a few questions. So there's going to be a big update to CarNet in the next couple of weeks. I'm wondering if,
call it the spring.
Yeah. So there's going to be an update to CarNet. I have no idea what to read into that. I mean, I still find it bizarre that it doesn't show me where the vehicle is. You know, that's those things that I can't,
unlocking the doors,
that I can't lock it and unlock it. That frustrates me. I would like to use my phone as a, use my cell phone as a key. I'd love that function. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what big, this is all the words I go, there's going to be a big update. That's all you get. Now, apparently we may even hear something in the next few weeks. There will be a proper OTA update coming, but apparently they're going to need the car and do an update to the car. I have a feeling this goes back to something I was told end of last year, Apparently they're going to upgrade our batteries to lithium-ion batteries. The 12-volt battery needs to be upgraded.
I had heard that even back in April, like last year, when they were talking about the first updates, the first one was going to be done at the dealer too.
Yeah.
My car was just at the dealer today, but that was for a 20,000 mile service and a new wiring harness for the windshield washer heaters. I think that's the like fifth recall at this point, but at least they fix it.
Indeed. Yeah, so that's the it's a we'll see what happens. April 17th is the day my car will be 1 year old, or 1 year old to me. So, you know, let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice.
April 21st for me. So needless to say, it would be very nice if we could do our 1 year review videos talking about all the new features Volkswagen brought to us.
Dominic, you listening? All right, let me go back to that's the Volkswagen thing. Oh, one last thing, Volvos. Well, you know what? So let me let's talk about our own personal car situations, Joe. You want to go first? I've got two cars to talk about. Do you want to talk about your one?
I'm just at 25,000 miles. I finally did the 20,000 mile service just because I got fed up of every time I turn on the car, I get a warning that tells me, take your car in for service. I'm not really sure what that service entailed. I know it was covered by Volkswagen, so kudos to them. And then they took care of another recall, like I mentioned. But Volkswagen's been, knock on wood, pretty good, pretty happy with it. This summer, I'm possibly going to be car shopping for a different electric car. I'm not 100% sure yet. This is just the early stages of car shopping, but more to come on that.
So I mentioned it on, I have some potential good fortune coming my way, some investments that have come in, and it brings with it a big tax bill. And needless to say, you know, right now, I've had this, you'll find some videos on my Instagram and TikTok or whatever. I refer to, you know, buying gasoline requires a safe word right now. I had to top up I filled up my wife's car for the first time in like forever. 10 days ago, I think it was. And it didn't, the bank wouldn't let me use my debit card because I don't buy gas, and that like just tripped off all the friggin' alerts. So I use a credit card and it stopped at $75, which is just the maximum you can fill up at that gas station. The tank wasn't full. And this was taking premium into her Volvo. Then I had to go and pick her car up from being serviced, and it was just under $1,000 for its 100,000 mile service. We just one part required a rubber bushing, I think it was, or a boot for the engine. Anyway, so Mrs. Regular EV is minded to get an EV. While her Volvo is at the maximum value it's going to have for a while. And this is what I was saying, Joe, about, you know, depreciation versus inflation versus cost of ownership in the Teslas. We are going to have a big tax bill like next year, and so I want to get as much of that back as possible with some necessary changes. So, been looking at what cars are going to come out this year, that are out now, and also might come out before the end of the year. The supply chain issues make that kind of difficult. And the worst thing is, of course, this is a minimum $40,000 situation you have to live with for a while. So if I'm fidgeting around, it's because my back is killing me. These are first world problems. These are great problems to have. However, she really wants her electric Volvo, not a Polestar, her electric Volvo. She has an XC60. She can't see herself really going down in size to a 40. But she was willing to. But the dealership experience, we just went to literally look at one, not sit in one, look at one. Yeah, Volvo, you need to work on your experience, because oh my God, they literally, like, we were picking up the car from service. We've been taking our car there for a very, very long time. I don't think I've ever been made to feel quite like garbage the way I was that day. But we're looking at the the XC40. I am curious, Joe, right? So the XC40 pure electric starts at 51,000. The C40, which is the same vehicle with less room, correct? It's just got the sloping.
I know this.
The slope. It's got the kind of the slopey back end.
Yeah.
That starts at 58,000.
So a lot of brands do charge more for that, coupe style styling. Technically, Volvo's not here, because the C40 only comes one way, completely fully loaded. The XC40, there's options you can put on, and if you put those options on, you end up at pretty much the same price as the C40. So I believe how the pricing was the last time I messed with it.
Interesting. Yeah, I have. I've had a look at this. The problem is, and you and I both drove the XC40 back in Pasadena. I just
biggest
can't.
Surprise of the event.
yeah, it goes like a scalded cat. I just can't invest in that charging curve. It's the ID4 charges better. I know.
Same with Polestar too.
Yeah, same issue. I think of that as limited technology. It's kind of annoying, and a privileged way to be thinking. But
you join me in my battle that I'll be going through, and I like the Mach-E. I like the Polestar 2 a lot, but it's hard to argue those against the Hyundai and Kias that charge literally twice as fast.
Yeah, that is the issue. Mrs. Regularly did sit in the Kia in the GT, and she did like it. She didn't love it, but she said, yeah, it's okay. She is a practically minded woman. There's a value issue there. So we're looking at what cars are going to be out. The Volt, and then what was interesting, and I would like us to have a pure one, but Volvo did also announce they have doubled the extended range version of the XC90 and 60, I think, actually, but definitely the 90, because we were looking at it. And so I'll build one very quickly on here. The XC, I'll share my screen, Joe. I can talk to the people at home about this. So it starts at 65,000. We are still going to have the same child and mess that we have right now. So we are not speccing this up as a limo. We would be taking the basic model, and we would be taking it with the 7 seats. I find it interesting, you pay more to lose a seat, and it's not because they are captain's chairs. Nope, you literally just lose the seat, but you pay $500. Find that one amusing. Yeah, so it's an extended range version, and this takes it up to 38 miles of electric range, which is, a good amount. It also qualifies for the federal tax rebate at that point as well. And we would add the lounge package. We don't need to worry about cold weather in California. But it comes with a ton of onboard tech already, and that puts the price at $70,000. Which, you know, after your $7,500, you know, your sales tax on top, $7,500 in tax credits, and it's a lovely place to be. It's got lots of room, yada yada yada. It is level 2 charging, but you know, there's no DC fast charge like there is with Mitsubishi. But she's looking at the Nero, and she'll no doubt look at the Ioniq 5 as well. However, I'm hoping, Joe, that this is what she actually might consider, which is a Porsche Taycan 4 Cross Turismo. This one is at Porsche Woodland, and hi, Chris, if you're watching. The chalk exterior with the red and black interior, featuring the premium package, the roof rails, which I think are essential, so we can put a box on this thing. It's got the 2+1 seat in the back, basically makes it like a bench. It's got the power seats. It's got the onboard. I think that's now standard, the 150 kilowatt charger. Didn't know this, but if you didn't get that and you plugged into a 150, you would get a maximum of 43, because the Koreans are better engineers than the Germans when it comes to this stuff. And what I find really bizarre, Joe, really bizarre, you have to pay. So you have to pay extra on this one for remote park assist and lane change. It comes with cruise control, but it does not come with active cruise control as standard.
I know, it's mind-boggling that some car brands choose to make safety an option. Like Toyota, you can buy a $25,000 Camry, and that comes with all of their safety features. It's not an option, you know. And then a lot of other brands now, because now that forward collision warning is a required feature, they're taking blind spot and making that something that's higher up in the option chain, just to kind of force people to option their vehicle up to pay to get that feature. I think those should be as a standard feature on every car. I know it raises the MSRP a little bit, but I don't think that should be an option.
It boggles my mind. It really does, my friend. It really does. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We can't do anything right now. We have to wait for the transaction to close out, and like I said, privileged position to be in. But we're going to look at the Kia. We're looking at Hyundai. I'm hoping, and the reason I mention this, Joe, the ID4 would be the daily driver for the house. You know, I'm going to be working from home. I start travel in a week. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you more about that in a minute, because that's going to affect the podcast and how regularly we record it. The ID4 will be the daily driver for the house. The Porsche would be our road trip and, you know, fun car. It's going to lose value, but I think my old man was right. Expensive cars. I mean, I know, you know, BMWs and that lose 50% of their value over 3 years. But I think this one will hold up a little bit, because this is the one that's going to get turned in for the ID buzz. I think that's the reality of it.
I would just let your wife know that, you know, if you guys buy the Kia, you're going to have to pay for all those charges on your road trip. If you buy the Porsche, they're complimentary. It's included in the experience.
I wonder how many. So my habit is, and they knew this, you know, yeah, we use the chargers really heavy when we're on our road trips. You actually do charge yours a charger fairly often, because you don't have a level 2 at home, right? That was what we talked about previously.
I have a level 2 at work, and then like the other day, on Monday, I only charge it around here at a level 3, probably once or twice a month. But there's one right by my office, so if I go and grab fast food for lunch, I'll go sit in the Walmart parking lot and eat there while I'm ramping up.
I'm just looking at the I have to log in. I wonder how much charging I've done since, you know, I what tends to happen is I will let the car run down. And then if I go up to the city and back, if I've got time, I'll go to the level 3 charger. I'll go to the DC fast charger and charge up there and just chill out in the car. I'm wondering if there is a subculture of middle-aged guys getting away from their families by going to charge their cars. This is our new going out for cigarettes.
I think there was a BMW commercial along the lines of that a couple of years ago, of that the car would, I don't know, the car would notify you something through Alexa that somebody's at your house, so you would not go home.
Yeah, yeah, I think that there's something in that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We're going to make a decision. We won't make any final decisions until we know the money's inbound. But then I would expect we'll make a very quick decision because Joe, I'm getting a Tesla. Let me explain. So we are going on vacation in June. We're going to head out to the Westminster Dog Show like we did last year. We're going to spend a long weekend in New York City, and then we're going to go to Tarrytown for the Westminster Dog Show. Then we're going on a family vacation, myself, the wife, the bug, and Auntie Lisa. We're going to go up to Portland, Maine to see some friends and go do some stuff there. And then we're going to go to Cape Cod for 4 or 5 days. And I went on Turo and I have rented a Model Y. So it's costing me about $200 more than renting a minivan from Avis on a corporate discount. Yeah, we're not going to have as much room as the minivan, but we will see, and it'll all be documented for your viewing pleasure. So yeah. Quick update on the podcast over the next couple of weeks, and Joe's hearing this for the first time as well. The schedule is going to be a little bit erratic because I am traveling every week for the next 7 weeks. It's going to be brutal. So we will record as we can, and so this is why you should subscribe, because as soon as I upload it, you'll get a notification. But yeah, well, it wasn't the short episode we were looking for, Joe, but you know, it was fun. It was fun.
We've completely burned through a MacBook Air 10-year-old battery.
All right. If you have been, thank you very much for watching, for listening. Please hit that like and hit that subscribe button. And from me, goodbye.
Take care until next time.
Have fun.